Hey yo, what is going on, Empire? DTA is back with another daily analysis video, and this is actually number 50. So I started this posting daily analysis on the AMP tokens subreddit, and the community wanted YouTube videos, so I said, why not? Let's create the channel. I did let the community know that I'm no longer going to be doing daily analysis videos on YouTube during the weekends because there's just too much going on. But I will continue to do the daily post on the Reddit sub each and every day. And YouTube content will be coming out during the weekdays. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's hop right into our daily analysis. So taking a look at AMP on CoinGecko, we can see that we are down 4.5% for today. And over the last 24 hours, we've been floating in between this 0.065 to 0.071 range. Now, we also moved down in terms of market cap just a little bit. So right now we're actually number 37. And I want to say sometime last week we had a peak of the number 32 spot. So we can see that, there are quite a bit of speculators moving in and out of AMP's market. But we are holding in the 30 range spot in terms of market cap pretty well. So let's hop right into the charts to see what is going on. So starting off on the weekly chart, right, we can see that, last week's candle, we had a high of, 0.092 cents. So roughly around 9 cents. And we had a close at the 7 cents mark. Pretty even, right? We're also right below the Fib point 0.5, which is 50%, using the Fibonacci retracement tool. We're slightly below that. This is all last week, but we stayed above the Fib 618. Now, taking a look at this week's candle, we can see that we actually did pull back just a little bit. We did touch the Fib 618 slightly, but again, we're already looking to get back above the close of last week's candle, which is at the 7 cents mark. We hit it, but it seems to be a little bit of sell pressure right there. But again, this is just the start of today's weekly candle. Now we can expect to have a pullback like such, especially, over the week where we've gained, over 90%. So, pullbacks are healthy in my opinion in this case scenario. But, also if we just take a look at AMP's charts over the previous weeks, we can see that, the real big moves don't necessarily come until at least the second or third week, right? That's when we see the major impulses to the upside, right? Even right here, we saw this doji reversal. Okay, we have, good bullish momentum here, but the real big impulse didn't come until, the second weekly candle, showing bullish momentum and that the bulls have control over it. So I say all that to say that we definitely still have time. We are only in, the beginning stages of the second week since this doji, letting us know that a reversal was in store, right? Last week was our first week in the uptrend. This week is starting our second week in the uptrend. Again, these huge swings and these huge price movements don't necessarily come until at least the second or third week of an uptrend for AMP. So that's what we have going on the weekly chart. Now let's hop into the daily. So, taking everything into consideration, all the new market data that we got on the charts, including, the continuous sell pressure, that led us to readjust to what we thought was a bullish pennant to now being, a bull flag. And we can rule that as being a bull flag because we saw, continuous sell pressure, and we've actually been pulling back a little bit more than expected, right? So, we've actually come down to the Fib 50, right? Using our Fib retracement tool. and we can see that there is quite a bit of buying pressure with these long wicks at the bottom of the daily candles. But again, pullbacks are notorious for coming down and touching at least the fib 0.318, the fib point 0.5, and the fib 0.618, right? So we could possibly come down to the fib 618, which will point us right at the 6 cents mark, or we could see a reversal stop here at the fib 50 before we move up, right? And that will look a little something like this, right? So tomorrow we could come down just a little bit lower to the fib 50 and then bounce above it before moving up, right? So a structure like that is possible. But again, it's also possible that we could come down to the fib 618, placing us at the 6 cents mark, right? I think it's also important to note that we've seen selling volume range between 44 million, 86 million, and 54 million over these last 3 days, right? Now, one thing that will tell us if the market is continuing or if it is reversing is going back in history to look at when selling volume caused us to, reverse. And that is here, right? June 18th, we saw selling volume upwards of 200 million, right? And that put us in this short term downtrend, right? So as long as we don't see selling volume upwards of 200 million, I think that this uptrend that we're seeing will continue because again, the trend is your friend until the very end. All right, so let's hop over into the 4 hour to see what we have going on here. So interestingly, on the 4 hour, we actually do still have our bullish pennant still maintaining its structure, right? We can also see that we came down to the fib 50 again here on the intraday time frame. And our lines are still holding up, right? Like this resistance line of the bullish pennant is still intact, and this support line of the bullish pennant is still intact, right? We can also see that the most previous 4 hour candles, it actually came down and touched it like just a little bit, right? We see these long wicks. That's letting us know that buyers are present right here, right? And August 4th will place us at the end of this bullish pennant structure. So AMP could decide what it wants to do sometime around then, possibly a little before then, right? So it's only two ways the market can go. It could either go up or it can go down. And in any case, we know exactly, the measure moves of where AMP could go. If it goes up, we know that, 11 and 12 cents is our targeted measure movement. If it does break, then we know that the next fib retracement level at the 6 cents mark is where, support should kick in, right? But nothing is ever guaranteed. People cannot predict the markets 100%, even though we've been pretty spot on with our analysis. But again, it all comes down to what these markets want to do, and we do have a market leader that we have to always respect, and we always have to go back to see what it's doing, right? And that market leader is Bitcoin. So on the daily chart for Bitcoin, after trending upwards, right, we kind of knew that pullback was bound to happen at some point, but it looks like we're seeing that right now. So on the daily, yesterday, August 1st, Bitcoin closed with a doji, right? And we all know that dojis are notorious for letting us know that the markets are going to reverse or the trend is about to pull back, right? And that's exactly what's happening today. We are slowly pulling back. And if we go into our intraday time frame just a little bit, we can see that Bitcoin did get rejected at the 42.6K mark. But currently, it's not going lower than what folks expected, right? We are hovering between the 39.8K range, and we are still, in a position of a higher low, right? So this was our previous higher low. And if we go up just a little bit, right? We're just a little bit. We're sitting slightly higher than this previous low, right? Again, series of higher highs and higher lows are exactly what we want to see, right? So I think that since Bitcoin is pulling back, it makes sense that AMP and the rest of the cryptocurrency market is also pulling back, at least until we see the decoupling of AMP from Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market. So that's what I have for y'all today. Um, and I think that it would be wise to take advantage of these pullbacks, right? In the short term, things may not look as promising, but in the long term, we know that AMP is definitely a long-term hold, and these buying levels are definitely desirable. So I think that we'll have an interesting week, especially with the Ethereum lending upgrade happening between August 3rd and August 4th, and Bitcoin upgrading its code, right, sometime in November 11th, I want to say. So the Ethereum upgrade, it could be the catalyst that the cryptocurrency market needs in order to continue trending upwards. Or the Bitcoin upgrade could be what the cryptocurrency market needs to continue to trend upwards. So time will tell, but we just have to be patient and wait to see. So until tomorrow, DTA is out.